coronavirus decided to become a thing. That kind of mucked everything up. Hello everybody, it's Charlie and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Today I thought I would do a little update video for you all. Somebody asked me to do an update video on my acting stuff, so what I thought I would do is do that, but also update on dentistry at the minute, kind of with the situation that's going on, obviously like the coronavirus, and kind of what's happening there. Slash also what's happening with my acting stuff, how far I've got, what I'm going to be doing, kind of giving you a sort of story time into my life and how the two have kind of tied in together. Anyway, if you would like to see that, hear that, find out about these updates, then just keep watching. So I'm just going to basically go back to the very beginning, when I started dentistry, when I started acting, and how they've kind of entwined together, sort of. So if you don't know, I started dentistry back in 2014 as a full-time dental nurse, trainee dental nurse. So the reason I took that job was because a family friend of ours owned the business and his ex-wife was actually the practice manager, which we were also friends with. Now the reason it was offered to me was because I did dental nursing as my work experience when I was in year 10 at school. So obviously I couldn't do anything because you had to have your Hep B jabs and stuff, which I didn't have, but I was able to learn about it. I couldn't do any decon stuff, but I could do the clean stuff in decon. I couldn't nurse, but I could learn about the system and the computer. I could do some reception work. So I did it for my work experience, and then I went on to be offered a job a few years later and took it and kind of went with it. So that's also the reason that I struggled to answer a lot of questions you guys asked me, because like I said, I started in 2014. So when I was in college, it was a while ago now. And a lot of what you learn in college doesn't retain. A lot of what you learn in college you don't do every day. So a lot of things are forgotten. There's no extra tests after college. There's nothing like that. There's no more exams. Once you've done your exams, that's it. Obviously you've got your CPD, which goes on a 5-year cycle. And if you don't know what CPD is, I do have a video about that, which I will link in an iCard, and it's on my channel for you to find. And that basically explains what it is and what you have to do. But that's it as far as dentistry is concerned. Once you've done your exams and you've done college, you're done with it. There's no more exams, there's no more tests, there's nothing. It's just your CPD. So I started that in 2014 because I'd done it for work experience. Now, acting wise, I started acting when I was 8. I went to like a stage school. But I've been doing it for as long as I can possibly remember. I wanted to do drama. That's all I've ever wanted to do since I was like a tiny kid. So when I started doing actual stage stuff when I was 8, I've done, I can't even count the amount of plays that I've done. I've done plays with like my youth theatre, I've been in a touring play, I've done plays in like local theatres around where I live. I've done so much stage stuff, but off the top of my head I couldn't give you a number. I'm not sure how many shows I've done, but it's a lot. Now it's just a case of getting it from stage to screen. The problem is, when I started work, when I started dentistry, I stopped my acting. So I was acting right up until I was 18, and then I started dentistry, and I knew that in order for me to ever pursue it, I was going to need a little bit of money behind me. And at this point, all I'd done is my part-time job. I was just a waitress in a cafe. Obviously that wasn't going to bring me enough money. I needed a sort of career to do for a few years to earn money to eventually try and be an actor again. So I stopped the drama stuff. I possibly could have carried it on, but I knew it was going to be really difficult when I had to train to be a dental nurse and I had to go to college and I had to study and all of that. It didn't allow me enough time to do the drama stuff. I should have let it allow me enough time because I knew that acting wasn't something I was ready to give up on. I didn't allow it to give me enough time, so I focused just on the dental nursing. So I qualified in 2016. I actually only went to college for 9 months, but before I started college I was on this weird e-learning system which just didn't work for me, and I was doing that for like a year before I actually went to college. So once I'd qualified, I actually moved practices. I moved closer to where I lived, so it's like shorter travel time to work. I started there in July 2016. I quit in July 2019. So when I say I quit, what I mean is that I actually reduced my contract to a 0-hour contract, which allowed me the freedom to be able to do the acting stuff but still work for the company whenever they needed me, which has been really great for me because it gives me a lot of flexibility. I am extremely lucky that my job allowed me to do that, and I'm so grateful to them and so thankful that they have allowed me to do that because it's been really good for me. However, coronavirus decided to become a thing. I don't know, when did it start? December 2019, but obviously it wasn't here till like March 2020. But that kind of mucked everything up. I definitely don't regret going to 0-hour contract to do my acting stuff because I know that acting is where I want to be. It's the only thing I can see myself doing. Only reason I would ever stop and say, okay, I'm not going to do it anymore, is I physically cannot do it anymore. Like, there is no possible way for me to do it, and somebody said, look, this is never ever going to work for you. You cannot do it anymore. Acting is where I need to go. That's where I want to go, that's where I need to go, that's the only thing that I want to do, and I've put so much into my life into it. To give you kind of an update on where I am at with acting, I am currently just an extra on stuff. So I've done Call the Midwife a couple of times, I've done Endeavour a few times, Hetty Feather. I lose track of what I've done because I actually was working quite a lot towards the later part of 2019. My very first job was the 1st of July. I still remember that day, I still remember that feeling of driving to the set and getting on the set, and it just makes me so happy to think about. There was nothing like the feeling of going to set that first day. And even every single time I drive to set, sometimes we have to be there at like 6 in the morning. I don't live somewhere that is close to like any film set. Normally I like to try and keep it to hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, because obviously when you have to be somewhere at 6 o'clock in the morning and you're having to leave at 4 in the morning, you don't get very much sleep the night before. That just doesn't even come close to the feeling that you get when you arrive on that set and you love what you do. I genuinely love that job. So as far as where it is now, productions have closed down for obvious reasons, social distancing, coronavirus and all of that, and certainly no work coming in from any of my agencies to give me film work, which sucks, but they can't work. Nobody, unless you're a key worker, really can work. Throughout basically the whole of 2020 so far, I've had one filming job. It was a local thing to me, and it was just for like a YouTube skit. That was the only acting thing that I did in 2020. From all the extras that I've met and speaking to them about, you know, how kind of the year works, they say winter is always going to be your quiet time because a lot of productions take holidays over winter and they need the weather. You know, daylight is a really important thing for filming. The other thing that I did, featured work, was something called Polariod, which is a film on Amazon Prime. It was so much fun to do. I loved doing that. It was great. It was my first kind of real experience being a featured actor in something. So as far as kind of acting right now, obviously there's nothing, but I am working on some projects myself. So a lot of what I'm trying to do with acting is do smaller projects, and obviously the more small projects you do, the better that looks on like a CV. I'm also doing something called the National Youth Film Academy, which was due to be in April of this year, but obviously that had to stop because of coronavirus. So that's now pushed to August of this year. And there are stages, you have to audition for it, you have to interview for it, you have to do an application for it. So that is what I'm doing later on this year, the National Youth Film Academy. Obviously, if you want to know more about that, then head over to their website. They've got all the information on there, and that has some amazing support networks around it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. So just flipping back to dentistry now. At this moment, dentists can't work. Obvious reasons. First of all, you absolutely cannot social distance if you're working as a dentist or a dental nurse. There's no possible way to do that. Dental practices don't have the proper PPE that you need to be able to treat patients with COVID, and even those without COVID, you don't know if they got it or not. We're not able to see people face to face, and I know that this is something that is extremely difficult for patients, especially if they're in pain. There are dental hubs open around your local areas. I believe the way that that works is that if you have a problem, you call your normal dental practice and they will then have to send a referral to a dental hub, and that dental hub will then decide if it's something that needs to be urgently seen. It's actually quite unlikely that you're going to be seen unless you have a serious problem. Dental hubs are mostly set up so that you are treated for either like extreme trauma, or you've got a swelling that is blocking your airway or something like that. So they really are for absolute dire emergency cases only. But that is where dentistry is at the minute. It sucks. It's really hard. It's a massive nightmare. It's gonna pick up. You know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Not everybody can see it at the minute, but this will be over. This isn't for the rest of everybody's lives. This is going to be over. It's a really crap time for everybody at the minute, but I'm just trying to see positives in it for when we come out of it. And what does this mean for dentistry? I have absolutely no idea. I know it sucks. I know it's really, really hard, but this is the world we are currently living in. It's horrible, but there is light at the end of the tunnel and we will come out of it. Okay, so I feel like I'm gonna leave this video here now. I've been rambling on for a long time. I hope that this gave you a more updated version of the acting stuff. So that's what I'm currently working on, have worked on, will be working on. Also with the dentistry stuff, I'm not going to become an actor overnight. I know that. It's going to be years of hard work. It's going to be losses. It's going to be rejection. It's going to be a lot to take on, but that's what I want to do. Let's end this video here today. I hope that was a good update for you and it kind of gave you a bit more of an insight into my life. I am rapidly running out of content ideas for you guys, so please, please, please let me know what you would like to see out of my videos. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button down below, and then click the little bell next to it so you get notified when I next upload, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!